when I introduced Radha Gopinath Prabhu yesterday, I forgot two very important things. Radha Gopinath Prabhu also is in charge, is the principal of a school of Gurukul children. There are about 50, 60 children. How many children, Prabhu, now?
27.
27 children.
Now you know how much to accept his statements.
Yeah, and he has been taking care of children and raising them, and through the Gurukul, many people have become devotees. You see, our Rupa Goswami Prabhu is from Gurukul also, from Bombay, who is living in Pune. So, Prabhuji is the main person behind the Gurukul there in Bombay, and he is also the temple president of Chowpatty Temple. Chowpatty Temple has a rotating president system. They have 4 presidents, and he is one among the presidents. Every 3 months they manage the temple. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। उत्साहात निश्चयात धैर्यात तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्तिः प्रसिद्ध्यति। There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service: being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So, yesterday we discussed about the beginning process of taking up devotional service, and that is having received the mercy of Guru and Krishna, how with a repentant heart for the past we take a vow to not engage in the same activity, but rather to take up that mercy by following a hygienic process where we can remain pure and uncontaminated and progress gradually to our stage of perfect health or perfect position, constitutional position of being a servant of Krishna. But then one has to gradually keep on progressing. There is no question of stability, static. Devotional service is dynamic. So either you are going up or you are going down. There is no question of staying. Actually, even to stay at one place, you have to keep on struggling. So, how to make sure that we are constantly advancing in devotional service? So 6 principles. Actually, bhakti means to surrender to the Lord. And Sharanagati implies 2 things. Anukulyasya sankalpo, pratikulyasya varjanam. Whatever is favorable, we try to adopt, however difficult it may be. And whatever is unfavorable, however pleasing it may be to the mind, the senses and the ego, we actually try to give it up. So in this 3rd verse, Rupa Goswami is describing 6 favorable items conducive to advancement in pure devotional service. So he begins, the first word is utsaha. Utsaha means enthusiasm. Prabhupada very brilliantly and very concisely defines what is enthusiasm. Actually, the test of a man of knowledge is how concise, how precise, and crisp, with few words, and he defines a term. Eloquence, true eloquence means essential truth spoken concisely. So, how beautifully he says, what is enthusiasm? He says, endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. If you think about it, it's so perfectly, the words are chosen, nothing more, nothing less, perfect, tailor-made. It's like a good tailor makes a suit, no extra piece hanging and no tight somewhere and, wrinkle somewhere. No, perfect. Similarly, this definition is so perfect, everything is fit in, all that you need to know. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. That is utsaha or enthusiasm. Now, just this word endeavor speaks a lot. Some people define bhakti simply as devotion. That doesn't imply activity. But Prabhupada translates bhakti as devotional service. It is a rendering of service, actually. Recently I went to Kolhapur, and one Brahmana, nice, sophisticated Brahmana from north of Karnataka, very pious, doing a lot of rituals, worship, etc. He asked me this question. He chants all the mantras while offering. He was telling, we prepare so many items and then we start offering the arti, etc. We chant so many mantras and then we glorify the Lord through so many prayers. Of all this, which is the most important? The preparation, the offering, idam naivedyam, idam arghyam, idam achamaniyam, and then we actually glorify them. There's so many aspects. So in glorification and praising of the Lord, which aspect is most important? I'm not able to understand. I was actually thinking for some time about this person. I was asking straight from my heart. He wanted to know. And I was thinking about it. And then I told him, actually, every aspect is equally important. Because it's all an exhibition of our love and devotion to that personality. Details are a manifestation of the principle of love. Rituals become a burden if there is no love. Suppose somebody comes to your home and you love that person and you want to offer him some nice salad because you don't know anything else cooking or anything. So you cut. So you have two choices. You bring a carrot, you bring a cucumber, and you bring a few things and put it in a plate and ask him, eat it now. This is the peeler, this is the knife, eat it. Hare Krishna. But then an exhibition of love is you cut it. Not just cut it. If you have seen, people arrange it so nicely. After arranging in a circular way, cutting in various and various designs, then put some green leaves over that and some coconut powder and this and then so many beautiful, you don't even feel like touching it. It will spoil the Not in a bad sense, but in a sense of, like so nice. I don't want to spoil the alignment by taking away one carrot piece. So beautifully arranged. Now, ultimately that person can say, "Sab to andar khana hai na, kaat ke kha lo bas." But it's an exhibition of love. So, actually, all these details is simply an exhibition of love. And if there is no love, कितना बार घुमाना अगरबत्ती? एक बार घुमाने से हो गया ना? 10-10 बार क्यों? इधर 3, उधर 2, उधर 4. Why do all that? It becomes a burden. And therefore, it gives good excuse for atheistic people to criticize rituals without love. So actually, the first thing is endeavor. Endeavor means it is not simply imaginative. Prabhupada begins the purport in such a nice way to this whole purport, to this text. He says, devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Practical activity, devotional service, love. Love is manifested in service. Sacrifice. When you love someone, you sacrifice. And sacrifice what? Whatever is time, the ability, the facility at your disposal, you sacrifice. Make an offering. So, it is endeavor. Endeavor means practical activity. It is cultivation. Just like when you say, cultivation requires activity. You want to cultivate a land, it requires so much of endeavor, so much of activity. It's not that I just sit and my bhakti is over. Bhakti means practical activity. If you see, in the spiritual world, everyone is busy serving. So it is endeavor. Not idle meditation on the void. What will you meditate on actually? There is nothing. But it is actual activity. So practical activity. So that is the first part. Endeavor. Can you imagine? Just this one word implies so many concepts. It's practical activity. It is cultivation. It's not idle meditation. Devotional service. So endeavor, but endeavor executed with intelligence. Sometimes people misunderstand enthusiasm simply to mean bubbling around from one place to the other. One moment he is here, next moment in the other room, next moment in other country, next moment here. Just running around everywhere. Not necessarily that it means simply just running around. There is a story of the tortoise and the hare. All of you know, right? Both began running, and the first was, his hare was so enthusiastic, he was running, and then he said, anyway, that fellow is long back. He slept. But on the part of the tortoise, it was so steady. Even steadiness in devotional service requires enthusiasm. Without enthusiasm, you can't be steady also. So if someone is steadily going on in Krishna consciousness, you must know that fellow has enthusiasm. You can't maintain steadiness in any activity without enthusiasm. So, endeavor executed with intelligence. Intelligence means you take a stock of what are my abilities, what are the facilities I have, how much time I have, what is the goal, how much time I have at my disposal, and very scrutinizingly plan intelligently so that I can go on under any circumstances. One time, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj in Bombay, when Prabhupada asked him to arrange for a big pandal program, he had practically no help at that time. Every running around he was doing. He was running around for the pandal, he was running around for this, arrangements, for prasad, for everything, literally. And when everything was arranged, when Prabhupada came, he was nowhere around. He was just taking rest. He was exhausted. So Prabhupada, it seems, met him later and said, "Where were you?" He says, "No, I was exhausted. I was just taking." "Why?" "So, no, I had to do this." No, you had so many people." No, I don't know whether they'll be able to do it or that. I couldn't. So therefore I did it myself. At that time, Prabhupada told him a very nice thing. He said, there are 4 kinds of people. He said, a active fool and a lazy fool, and an active intelligent and lazy intelligent. The worst is an active fool. If a person is very active and a fool, it's like monkeys, they're very active. And most of the time they're very foolish from our point of view at least. They can create more havoc, more damage. But then there is a lazy fool. He's a fool, but thank God he's lazy. So always he's sleeping. So at least he harms himself but not others. But then there is an active intelligent. That is what he was indirectly referring to Giriraj Maharaj's activities at that time. He said, you are intelligent, you are active, you are moving around, and therefore you got exhausted. And therefore he said, you should become lazy intelligent. Now what does lazy intelligent? Doesn't mean just sleeping around. Intelligent fellow sleeping around is lazy intelligent. No. Lazy means no unnecessary endeavor without proper planning. Just running around suddenly and not. There's a plan. You should plan it. Properly choose people, inspire them, empower them, and with least amount of energy, get the maximum thing done. That is intelligence. Utility is the principle. We have so much to do. The whole world has to become Krishna conscious. And how many of devotees are there? Very few. Therefore, their energy, their time, their intelligence, everything is very, very important. It cannot be just dissipated into nothingness and wasted. Every pi, every moment, every ounce of energy it must be properly utilized. Just like if you are on a track, if you are on a trekking, and you are given one bottle of water to last for 4 days, you have to manage. How you use that? Because you know, this is the only thing at my disposal, and I have 4 days to go. So not even a drop falls here and there. You take just whatever is necessary, not too much, and then simply urinate it. No, every moment you plan every drop, nothing should be wasted. So, endeavor executed with intelligence. Intelligence means you properly know, take a stock of what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, and don't say weaknesses, what are your challenges. Understand them. What is the goal to be achieved? How much time do I have at my disposal? What are the facilities I have? And then use accordingly, intelligently. So that is endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness. Because even materialistic people are endeavoring with intelligence. They know how to extract the full out of whatever they have. They are intelligent. And they are also endeavoring much more than probably than any devotee. It's a fact. Because their faith in that illusory goal is more stronger than our faith in Krishna. They have 100% faith. Little more endeavor and this carrot that is dangling, I will reach it. That's all. 2 more years. I'll struggle, get a lot of money, retire and become happy. This carrot I'll get immediately. Just 2 more steps and I'll get the carrot. Their faith in the dangling carrot is much more than our faith in Krishna. And therefore, they're so enthusiastic, so energetic. We lack that. It's a fact. One day I went to, for Janmashtami, I was supposed to make a souvenir. And that souvenir had to come on that particular day for the evening program. So, I had to get it done. I went early in the morning, on the day of Janmashtami, to sit in front of that printer. And that fellow was busy. I was sitting right in front of him. And the whole day I was sitting with him. For me, there was no worry, because I knew I had to fast and, not eat anything. But that fellow was sitting with me early morning to practically 10:30 at night, till I grabbed it and ran. And during around 10 o'clock or something at night, he was sitting right in front of me. One of his papers just fell from the table, and there was a dabba kept. It went underneath the dabba. So, just to take that paper, he lifted the dabba, and he looked at a little puzzling look on his face, and he said, "It's a little heavy." Then he remembered. He said, "Oh, आज मैं खाना ही भूल गया." His wife had sent around 11 o'clock in the morning. This fellow was sitting. He didn't drink anything. He didn't even drink water. What to speak of coffee or tea? He didn't eat anything. Whole day was sitting right in front of me. He was getting it done, because he knew that if I do this job, I will get more orders from these fellows. And these are, ISKCON means money is there, they will come. Somehow people have this idea. A lot of money aata hai, wahan se bahar se aata hai aap logon ko. So that enthusiasm, that determination, that faith that eventually I will get a lot of money, was so enthusiastic that he forgot about all these things. And I was thinking, I wish I could take a dust from his feet and put it on my head. And if I had so much enthusiasm in my service, I would have achieved the perfection of life very soon. But we lack. We'll discuss that later, why we lack that many a times, or sometimes why we become lax. But the fact is that faith, so they have full faith. But unfortunately, that is illusory. Their happiness will never come, just like the donkey will never get the carrot. But we have full faith that it's the right process. So endeavor executed with intelligence. Through intelligence, we have to understand what really to be strived for and utilize that. And in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness. And what does Krishna consciousness mean? They also are endeavoring with intelligence. A devotee also endeavors with intelligence. But the difference is, one does it in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness implies, number one, his motivation is pure. A lusty person, an angry person, a greedy person endeavors with all intelligence and creates a havoc in society. You have to have determination to destroy a building in America in midst of all kinds of things. So much of planning is required. So much of enthusiasm is required. Endeavor is required to actually go ahead, taking all risks, even giving up their own life. But at what cost? For what benefit? For whose benefit? So, endeavor executed is important, but with intelligence in Krishna consciousness, that means pure in motivation. No other motivation other than pleasing Guru and Krishna. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes. That's the meaning. Ekeha means this, focused on pleasing Guru and Krishna. And therefore, such a person has absolutely no other motivation. His motivation is 100% pure. And secondly, this energy executed with intelligence is guided under an authority. It is guided under an authority. And because of that guidance, it is fruitful. Always under guidance. Because there is chance that we may waste that energy, or this energy may many a times be misdirected. Therefore, we always need guidance. And that guidance is there. Krishna consciousness means under proper guidance. Pure motivation under proper guidance. And utilizing everything. There is full scope for utilizing any and everything in Krishna's service. For a materialistic person, they may not have use for some things. But a devotee has use for everything. Give him anything and he will use it in Krishna's service. Because he understands everything is energy of Krishna. And therefore he will use everything. That is intelligence. He knows how to use everything in Krishna's service. And it is all done for the satisfaction and pleasure of Krishna. That's what it means in Krishna consciousness. Pure motivation, under proper guidance, utilizing any and everything in Krishna's service for the pleasure and satisfaction of Krishnarthe Akhila Cheshta. So that is that's enthusiasm. Now, actually, why enthusiasm is required? Because it's like an immune system, a spiritual immunity system. If you don't have immunity, then you can easily get diseased. And a person overcome by the diseases of lust, envy, anger, etc., can get deviated and can become lax. And our speed in Krishna consciousness or the enthusiasm may slowly get diluted, and gradually we can become inactive. Actually, what is enthusiasm? Devotional service without enthusiasm is meaningless. We are the Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti means matter and spirit, both are there. This body is gross matter. It is activated by the soul. As long as the soul is there, the body is active. As long as the soul is gone, it is dead matter. Just imagine some fat person here. Who is the fattest here? Who is well built? Sorry, I won't say fat. Yes, Ram Priya Prabhu is a very well built person. Now, yesterday night, he was the most active dancing. Right? What is your weight, Prabhu? Huh? 100. My God, century. Should say 3 times Haribol. Haribol! Haribol! Actually, what does it require to lift 100 kilo weight? How much strength is required to lift 100 kilo weight? But you see this body of 100 kilo jumping on automatically, just because 1/10,000 the tip of the hair is activating it. Can you imagine the power of the soul? 1/10,000 the tip of the hair. It's like an ant lifting Ram Priya Prabhu and making a pole vault in the Olympics, ants Olympics. Can you imagine an ant lifting such a person? And not only lifting and somehow crawling, but just pole vaulting like this. That's what the soul is. Not even like an ant. 1/10,000 the tip of the hair. Can you imagine how active is the soul? And if that soul leaves, the same fellow, if he has to be carried, 4 people have to, Ram Naam Satya Hai. Not you, Prabhu. May you live very long and spread devotional service far and wide. But if a man, if he has, Ram, they keep changing shoulders every few yards. They get exhausted. So much, so heavy, and 1/10,000 the tip of the hair is activating it. Can you imagine how active is the soul? So soul by nature is dynamic, and matter is gross, dead, inactive. So when the soul identifies with the body, then it is natural that you become exhausted, you become tired, you become inactive, you become dead. And to the extent a person identifies himself with the soul, he realizes, I'm not the body, I am the soul. To that extent, that person becomes active and enthusiastic. So if we are inert, if we are inactive, if we are apathetic, indifferent to the needs of the soul, then naturally, immediately, this disease of laziness, inertia, creeps in. Inactivity creeps in. So until and unless we make an effort, constant effort to be enthusiastic, if not be enthusiastic, act enthusiastic, at least to begin with, that will give life. And that energy can create such, it's infectious. Laziness is infectious, enthusiasm is infectious. It depends what kind of infection you want to get. Tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. A man is known by the company he keeps. So inertia is just opposite. Apathy is opposite to enthusiasm. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that the same inactivity appears even in our essential process of Krishna consciousness, that is the chanting of the holy name. 99% of our advancement comes from chanting of the holy name. And in the chanting of the holy name also, one of the offenses is chanting inattentively. Inattentive means what? Inattentive means it is due to apathy. Sympathy. Sympathy means we actually care for someone. Apathy means audasinya, udasin. Udasin means kiya to kiya, nahi kiya to nahi kiya. Another thing is jadya. Jadya means laziness. And the third thing is vikshepa or distraction. All of this is essentially leads to inattentiveness, which leads to all the other offenses eventually. So even if you are not performing any of the 10 offenses to the holy name, but if you are inattentive due to apathy, indifference, or due to distraction, and rather than attending to it, if you allow it to be there and don't with enthusiasm kick them out, then it is bound to actually affect our sadhana, and naturally it will affect every aspect of our service. So therefore, apathy or inattentiveness, because of apathy, that is audasinya, or because of laziness, that is jadya, and because of distraction or vikshepa. Now, how to overcome this? The laziness means what? You start off very nicely, but after some time, again you see, like, you can see a person actually struggling, and afterwards, that means more and more, this is like a kabaddi between Maya and Krishna. And slowly that team is winning. And ultimately is won. This is a fight. It's a fight. It's a battle. It's a battle with Maya. Who wins? It depends upon who you encourage, whom you give attention to, whom you give importance to. They will win. So laziness means allowing that inertia to overtake us. So somehow or other, we have to make sure what is it that causes those things. We have to analyze. If you don't want to repeat the same mistake again, analyze the event. What happened which resulted in this? Maybe every aspect, maybe I ate too much yesterday, or I slept too late yesterday, or I whatever. Analyze every aspect. What all the things. If you are not enthusiastic, just analyze. When you were most enthusiastic, what were the factors? When you are not, what were the factors influencing that? And make sure that gradually in your whole lifestyle, you reduce those factors and increase those factors which are favorable. That's intelligence. Executive intelligence means intelligently analyzing. Otherwise, you are putting on a fire and pouring water, it doesn't work. You'll have to analytical, always analyzing how to remove this, what are the aspects. Just like materialistic people, how much they are, every aspect favorable they adopt, even for little benefit. So that's how jadya is overcome, laziness is overcome. By clear chanting, by little louder chanting, not that you just chant, hardly moving your lips. Then you don't even know. Even you don't know, but other also don't know whether you're chanting or not, because you hardly open your lips or hardly, speak out. So if it's not, then people won't even if somebody wants to assist you, he can't assist you. So these kind of things can overcome. Then audasinya means apathetic. Systematically trying to very carefully, clearly, conscientiously finishing at least our 16 rounds. That shouldn't be ठीक है बाद में कर लेंगे एक साथ weekly quota कर लेंगे. Not like that. Audasinya means apathy. Apathy means किया तो किया, नहीं भी हुआ तो चलेगा, कल कर लेंगे. At least that part, whatever is our commitments, they have to be done very clearly, nicely, conscientiously. And vikshepa means distraction. Distraction comes because of too many attachments, too many distractions that we already have. Right at the time of chanting, it comes. It doesn't come at other time. Only during the chanting, everything comes. 20 years ago, what somebody did to you, that also comes. Past life. Hey, that's the nature. Either you go backward or you go forward. You never want to be in the present. And present also outward. Who all are sleeping. So either backward you go, I don't know, I put the dhoti there, it's raining, I hope it doesn't rain. Bhiga ho gaya. Nahi, other, maybe I'll wear that. Or what if that fellow wears mine? Finished. 20 minutes of japa are gone. Or future. What will I do after this? I hope I have stored prasadam in the right corner. Nobody will take it. Whatever, each one has his own attraction, distractions. Whatever. But either future or in the bag. And in the process, the present is also gone. So therefore, distractions, if they really want to overcome, that comes only by developing a taste for the holy name. And taste can come only when we associate with those who have taste for the holy name, who understand its importance. So that kind of association actually removes that distraction. Actually, enthusiasm is like an energy. It's a powerful energy. When that energy is there, it burns out all anarthas. It burns out all anarthas. And if enthusiasm, the first sign of a person becoming lax is he's no more enthusiastic. That means he's shaking hands with Maya already. Already, kind of having a dialogue with her. What do you think? How much bargaining? I want to come to your side, but, what is the proposal? Put up your proposal. So, the first sign is that person is losing his enthusiasm. So, therefore, actually, enthusiasm is the life of devotional service. Devotional service or faith without enthusiasm is meaningless. And there is so much to be spoken about enthusiasm, but we will not cover the other 5 that way. But that comes, enthusiasm comes. Actually, one more thing before I go to the next point. All these 3, laziness, apathy, distraction, all of these, one thing is very common. The more one thing that runs through all of them, if you want to overcome all the 3, one thing common that runs through all of them, which I have seen, is chanting in the association of other devotees. Ideally, if possible, with someone who has more taste in the holy name, or at least some other few people. That's very nice if we can come together to chant as often as possible. That's a very good practice. Chanting in front of Tulsi Devi, chanting with beads. These are anything that is favorable. Whatever is, this much extra benefit is there, adopt it in your life. Early morning chanting, ideal. Brahma Muhurta, ideal. And very alert chanting. So to remain alert, whatever is necessary you have to do. Right? Actually, your chanting should begin from the previous night. Preparation should begin from the previous day. How you have to, just like there was one person, one devotee who told me, his friend is a Air Force pilot. Air Force means fighter plane. He's a pilot of Air Force fighter planes. For them, it is a rule. It's a rule for them that before they come to the plane, the fellow has to have good rest and he should not be intoxicated. At least 8 hours before, he should not have taken intoxication. It's a rule, otherwise they are thrown out. It's a highly paid job, high pay. And why they say you have to have 8 hours? Forcibly you have to go to rest. Because he was telling, he actually went and saw, his friend took him. In this fighter plane, he said there are 350 controls. And this goes at super speed, supersonic speed. And one little moment of inattentiveness, it will just go into the ground. It's going at that speed and little direction. Zoom. He just scratches somewhere, and looks around. And then he sees he's gone already into the ocean or whatever. So that fellow has to be so attentive. And there are so many controls. He has to be alert, absolutely alert. So said, you have to have so much of sleep. You have to have so much of, no other intoxication, no other things like that. They're paid for that. It's only 1 or 2 hours of flying. But they do so much within that. So similarly, we are flying our plane back home, back to Godhead. Too long a distance. Pantastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo. Vayo rathapi manaso munipungavanam. They can't reach, but we can reach. And the only time we drive our plane is when we hold the mala in our hand. Remember, little mistake and you will go away. Or you may go in the wrong direction if you are not alert. Another thing, another devotee once was telling is how, he said, he comes to our temple every day in Chopati in Bombay. He comes from about a distance of 17 kilometers he travels. And he said, when he comes for a Mangalarti, he comes in only 14 minutes. Not even 14, 12 minutes or something. But after Bhagavatam class, when he goes back, it takes 1.5 hours. You know why? Traffic. Early morning, he just comes. Absolutely no traffic. But after 10 o'clock, when he goes, so much traffic in Bombay gets stuck. So he was telling, similarly, he said our japa, early morning, no traffic, no other thoughts. It's a clear highway, express highway. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But then, the later it takes to chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, stuck. There's one thought. ये खत्म करो तब तक नहीं आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता तुम. The phone call has come. Somebody is knocking. Somebody is doing this. Stuck. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram Hare. So, there's so many traffic. External traffic, internal traffic. All starts because the mode of passion arises. Of course, for some it may not be possible for so many reasons. For some housewives, their whole day is peak hour service is from morning 5 to 8. Absolutely not possible. And because of their lifestyle, what to do? Husband comes very late, children are there like that, everything. So they have to spend some time. Eventually they have to go to bed at 11. And most active part of the day is from 5 to 8 in the morning. Absolutely not able to do for certain reasons. Or sometimes in the year, students, for example, examinations, whatever. At that time, some places are like emergencies. Then you have to intelligently balance it. But as far as possible, in one sitting, with a clear consciousness, fully alert, least distraction, at least these things have to be considered. But the point is, it should be an exclusive activity, special activity, with least distraction, most effort, most alert part of the day. And eventually we have to mold our lives in such a way that we give quality time to these activities. That is how even we can gradually overcome. Otherwise, if we don't intelligently, endeavor execute it with intelligence, if we don't intelligently plan our day, intelligently plan our activities, then eventually, even though you are sincerely struggling, gradually you will lose taste. So that is intelligence. Endeavor executed with intelligence. And then, enthusiasm is lost, or enthusiasm cannot remain for long when there is no faith. Nishchayat. You have to have faith. When you have full faith that you are on the right track, then you will be enthusiastic. One time, 3 devotees, we were driving to a place for a program, very distant place from Bombay. And it was raining. It was something like this season. It was raining very hard, and the devotee at the wheel, he was driving, trying to drive full speed. We had very little time, 10 minutes, and we had a lot of distance to cover. And it was raining like anything. We just couldn't see beyond 20 feet. And at that time, we came at a crossroad. And at a crossroad, there was no road signs, there was no person around, and we didn't know which road to take. One of them led to the place where we are having the program. So we were stuck. And ultimately we said, what to do? Okay, we took out a coin. Heads, we go this way, tails, we go like this. Heads. We took the left turn. We knew it was urgent, we had to go quickly, we have to reach there fast, it's getting late for the program, but whatever you may know, he may have, but somehow he just couldn't press his legs on the accelerator with full heart. Why? Because he was not sure whether he's on the right track. A kilometer later, one old man was standing near the tree. Hey भाई, ये वसई जाता है क्या? क्या? वसई जाता है क्या? एक काम करो, जिधर से आप आए ना, पीछे थोड़ा जाओ. Oh, bash! This fellow Zoom immediately understood. And then he went there, and from there, when he took that, he was full on the pedals because he knew that now I am on the right track. He was very enthusiastic because he had faith that he was on the right track. Till then, however he may want, he just couldn't press on the accelerator with his heart. Because his heart was full of doubt. Am I on the right track? Because if I am not, the more enthusiastic I am, the more longer I have to come back. So, Nishchayat, you have to be sure that you are on the right track. Krishna does exist. That is real life. His devotional service is truth. Nitai Charana Satya, Tahara Sevaka Nitya. So we have to be convinced of this fact, intellectually, analytically, whatever. But we have to have faith. And that when that faith is there, then naturally we'll be very enthusiastic. Because just that anticipation of the excitement that we're going to get just at the end of the road, you're all more eager to run and get it. Because you know it awaits just at the end of this particular time. So therefore, faith is very important. Faith in what? Faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. Bhagavan sambandha bhakti abhideya hai, prema prayojana vede teen vastu ka hai. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Vedas is ultimately to know these 3 subject matter. Sambandha, abhideya and prayojan gyan. What is sambandha gyan? Who is God? Who am I? What's my relationship? Abhideya, how to re-establish that relationship which is lost since time immemorial. And prayojan, what will I get after I re-establish that relationship? Other than this, there is nothing else in the Vedic scriptures. And these 3 principal truths can be understood through 10 principles. It's called Dashamula. And the first thing is, the Vedic scriptures is axiomatic truth. That is the proof. Praman. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, the conclusive Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. That is the pure Praman, proof for all the other truths. The next 3 truths is Supreme Personality, Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajeshatanaya, the supremely most worshipable Lord is none other than Nandanandana Krishna. Secondly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has immense and innumerable energies. He is omnipotent. He has inconceivable power. He is potent. And thirdly, He is the reservoir of all mellows, Rasaraj. In Him can we only find true taste, true relationship. Otherwise, all these relationships are temporary and they are illusory. They can't give us true happiness. These are the three truths. And the next three truths refers to the individual soul, the Jivatma. First and foremost, the Jivatma is part and parcel of Krishna. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhut sanatana. Second, there are two kinds of living entities, Nitya Baddha in the material world and Nitya Siddha in the spiritual world. And third, that the Nitya Baddhas have come to material existence and they, by purifying their existence, can go back to the spiritual world. And what is the seventh truth? Or eighth? The first one is Pramana, second is about the Lord, three truths about the living entities, and the eighth one is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. The individual soul is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. It's a very important truth which discriminates the Vaishnava philosophy from that of the impersonalistic Mayavad philosophy. Then what is the ninth truth? That relationship with the Lord can only be established by the process of devotional service, nothing else. Only by bhakti. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yasyasmi tattvadaha. Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya aham evam vidhorjuna gyatum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. The only process is bhakti. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami this beautiful story about the Sarvagya who went once to a poor man and told him, there is a beautiful lot of wealth that your father has left. Go and search for it. Actually, it's in your own house at the backyard. But don't dig on the southern side because bees will come and sting you. Don't dig on the western side because a ghost will come and haunt you. Don't dig on the northern side because a snake will come and devour you. Scratch a little dirt on the eastern side and you will get the dust, get the wealth. Don't get caught up. Southern side means the Karma Kanda. Don't get caught up in Karma Kanda. Don't get caught up in the Jnana Kanda. It's like a ghost which haunts and you start speaking, I am God. Don't get caught up in the Yoga Kanda which wants to eventually merge and lose one's existence. Engage in Bhakti Yoga. That's in the eastern side. So all these processes are useless without culminating in Bhakti. The Bhakti is the process. We have to have full faith that this is the only process. There is no other way. Agyascha ashradadhanascha samshayatma vinashyati na ayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshayatmana. A doubting soul, one who has doubts, can never become happy in this world, what to speak of the next. Doubt is the demon. We have to kill this demon with the enthusiasm of devotional service. So, that is nishchayat. Then dhairyat, patience. Patience, sometimes somebody may wonder, enthusiasm and still patience. It goes ill together. You know, impatience, enthusiasm means restless to reach the goal. But simultaneously, be patient. It is very important because the task that we have taken up is not an ordinary path. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. After millions of lifetimes, Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, a rare soul understanding that cause of cause to be Krishna, surrenders and goes full speed. Don't think simply by 2-3 years of enthusiasm you can get it. You have to have patience. Enthusiasm without patience is restlessness. And kind of misdirected. And mere patience without enthusiasm, Krishna will show mercy one day or the other. So I will be relaxed. If you lack enthusiasm, you are allowing Maya to come and attack. If you have enthusiasm and no patience, that means you lack faith. अरे इतने साल से जपा किया अभी तक कृपा नहीं मिला. Does really Krishna exist? What if I do all of this and finally find out that actually there is no Krishna in the spiritual world? There is no spiritual world at all. Some doubts like this come. Does this process really work? Now, it happens to all of us. We take a resolve. We will do this, we will do this. And after few weeks or few months of taking up some resolution, I'll do this much, I'll do this much of service, I'll do this much of chanting, I'll do this much. And then after some time, you say, क्या कर रहा है यार, थोड़ा सोच. करते जा रहा है. इतना टाइम पास हो रहा है. नहीं मिलेगा तो बाद में. 4 भगत लोगों ने बोल दिया, तू कर रहा है, वाह. अरे 1000 पूरी दुनिया कुछ और कह रही है. सोच ले. There is a chance that you may start feeling. We'll discuss why that thing goes away. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains what kind of anarthas that hinder our enthusiasm. He said, first thing is utsahamai. One anartha is utsahamai. Utsahamai means almost seems like enthusiasm of a pure devotee. Sometimes when a new person comes into Krishna consciousness, you look at his enthusiasm and you say, hey, he looks like a pure devotee here. I am there in 6-7 years and I don't have such an enthusiasm. So we find sometimes a new person is so enthusiastic. But that is utsahamai. Why utsahamai? Because there is naturally enthusiasm if it is something is new. The novelty of the spiritual experience. It's a new kind of people, new hairstyle, new kind of clothing, new kind of environment, new kind of song, new kind of dance. Everything is new. So there is innovative and therefore there is enthusiasm. But afterwards, वही हर एक यही मंत्र बार बार गाते हो तुम लोग. वो मंगल आरती में वही गाना फिर से गाते हो हर रोज. यही लोग बार बार आते रहते हैं और कोई आता ही नहीं है मंगल आरती में. Same old 10 people. And then you start feeling, now I look enthusiastically look for some other change. So, that novelty may give some enthusiasm, it may not last long. And novelty also because when a person comes new, everyone gives lot of attention to him. Hari Bol Prabhu, oh you have come, very nice. Afterwards, why didn't you come yesterday? Oh, you're chanting one round, Hari Bol, very nice. And a year later, what? Still only 8 rounds? Huh? क्या यार 8 माला करता फिर उसे गाली भी खाना पड़ता है. So, no more your ego is, bloated. Rather, it is crushed. And you feel, proud, new, Tilak, Kantimala. Vaishnav hu main, Vaishnav. But then, after some time, when you are not able to say, अब तू वैष्णव है ना? करता हूँ बीच-बीच में कभी-कभी. Very difficult, because expectations are very high, they keep on increasing. It's like children. Beta, what did you learn? A, B, C, D. Oh, very nice. All the 26 you know. But after 4 years later, what did you learn, beta? A, B, C, D. अभी तक ABCD कर रहा है. अभी XYZ सीख. A squared, B squared, C squared. So that novelty will be lost. And then they will say, yeah, इतना तक करता हूँ, फिर इसके बाद भी गाली पड़ता है, छोड़ो. So, and Krishna also gives free sample. He's a good salesman, Good salesman gives first free sample. चल चख लो. After 3 days, चाहिए? पैसा भरो. So Krishna also, it's a fact. It's a fact. When you come first, somehow you feel so nice being in this particular environment. But afterwards, you start coming closer to devotees. And then you see, ये तो बहुत खाता है. ये भी ऐसे ही है जो मैं हूँ, कौन सा बड़ा है? When you start seeing too near, then you start, wondering. So what's so great about it? He also does the same thing I do. He has also 2 eyes. I have also 2 eyes. In fact, I jump little higher than him. So in this way, the enthusiasm may go away. Utsahamai. The second thing is Ghana Tarala. Very intense, sometimes more enthusiasm. Today, every day I want to chant 64 rounds. And next day, kal kar lenge, aaj 2 kafi hai. You take a, wow, sometimes so enthusiastic. Kabhi ghana, kabhi tarla. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. So, ghana means intense. You are very intense, very enthusiastic. And tarala means today is, aaj mood nahi yaar, biorhythm thoda low hai. You don't feel like doing anything. So that is phases of lethargy and phases of bursting enthusiasm, sporadic enthusiasm. Then, Vyudha Vikalpa, the third kind of anartha. Vyudha Vikalpa means that doubt assails one's resolve. When doubts outweigh our belief, then we become slack in our resolve. This is what I was telling. It's a fact. Sometimes, after few years in devotional service, suddenly you look at the books and says, I have been missing out on so many other books. How do I know that this is truth? This particular organization glorifies so and so, so and so. But have I actually got? Am I missing out on something? I mean, truly this, only so many people agree about this. But the whole world is thinking otherwise. There are so many top scientists who have given other views. And am I on the right track? You start doubting the basics, fundamental concepts. A situation comes. You really start wondering, am I on the right track? Am I wasting time? It's there, somewhere in the back, when you are, it's just like a thief. You know what an expert thief? A thief comes into the household and sees that it's too bright, everything is too bright. So he goes and hides somewhere in one dark corner. Waits for a suitable time when it is dark, and then springs from behind, catches hold of that fellow. Similarly, when we are bubbling with enthusiasm, new in Krishna consciousness, and everything is fantastically going, sadhana is going nicely, reading is going, association is having nicely, everything is going nicely, there is Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar. Krishna is shining in our heart, and therefore sadhana is good, everything is good, and therefore these doubts are somewhere lingering, somewhere down. But because of, many a times because of physical chronic illnesses or lack of association for longer time, if we are not careful to, take proper care, then what happens is there is some kind of a haziness, and then these doubts manifest. Somebody rings up, तेरे को बोला था मैं 10 साल पहले बोला था, याद है? सोच ले तू क्या कर रहा है? Because now you are absorbed into that, this darkness, easily Maya can overcome. And then these doubts starts coming again, Did we actually never went to the moon? ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? Dust is there. Things like that may manifest. So that is Vyuda Vikalpa. Then another is Vishaya Sangara. Vishaya Sangara means internal tug of war with sense gratification. In Christian terminology, it is called as dark night of the soul. What is dark night of the soul? Night 12 o'clock. At night 12 o'clock, 6 hours ago, the sun has set, and 6 hours later, the sun is going to rise. Right? You are in the middle now. Night 12 o'clock. So, in bhakti, after a few years, then suddenly you look at the western horizon. The sun of sense gratification has set. अभी कर ही नहीं सकते यार, बंद हो गया वो. But taste for the holy name has not yet come. It is still 6 hours to go. The sun of Krishna has not risen. Ruchi, bhava, prema has not come. And whatever little taste we had, that is set already. So we are in between. What the intelligence is convinced that there is taste, the senses are convinced that there is taste in material sense gratification because we have been doing it for such a long time. But the intelligence has been convinced that it is futile. So, sun has set of sense gratification. Unnecessary and unfavorable sense gratification. Not true sense gratification. And what intelligence is convinced that is real taste, the senses are not experiencing. What the senses have experienced, intelligence says it is bad. What the intelligence says is good, the senses have no taste yet. So, like in the in-between position. And there is a tug of war. Should I run this side or should I run this side? That is called Vishaya Sangara. So, Bhoga, Tyaga. Should I take up this process or this process, this process, this process? That kind of thing comes. Then, Niyamakshama. Niyamakshama means a person who is quite advanced but lacking mature bhakti. For such a person, of course, his doubts have been cleared to a large extent. His attachments to things of this world are slightly reduced. But he lacked fixed resolve to increase and improve devotional service. And my doubts are cleared. I have no more attachments to materialistic things. But at the same time, I am doing the same thing what I was doing so many years ago. My devotional service has neither increased in quantity nor quality. And such a person, Niyamakshama, and I don't have that thing to actually progress further also. I'm just kind of sailing along or coasting along, from the past. किसी ने धक्का मारा, वो धक्के के ऊपर चल रहा है बस. Initial push that was given a few years ago, The vehicle is rolling just because of that. But again, that thing has not yet started. So that kind of feeling also sometimes comes. That is another kind of anartha. And finally, the last one, which is most powerful anartha to remove, is called Taranga Rangini. Taranga Rangini means the gross things have disappeared. Gross anarthas have disappeared. But the very subtle, seemingly inconspicuous anarthas are still there. And they are very difficult to deal with. At this time, a devotee is almost successful devotee. He's been established in the movement for a long time. People know him. He's got a position as probably the temple president or a big personality, big position of service. He's no more a neophyte. He is given up bhoga tyaga. He's not attached to these things of the world. These things are insignificant for him. And he has absolutely no doubts regarding bhakti process. He has all good qualities. He has determination, he has compassion, he has mercy, he has this, that, all good qualities are there. He has risen above even mediocre devotion. Now he has become a steady devotee. But then, because he has become a steady devotee, that attracts puja, labha and pratishtha. Now it attracts a lot of wealth, lot of adoration, respect and lot of position. Eventually it will come. If you are steady, people are attracted. They give their wealth. They know that this will be used for a right cause. Here, without even questioning, take a lot of wealth. The wealth starts coming. People start respecting, falling at your feet. And suddenly you start thinking, oh, I'm an exalted fellow. And you get a lot of position, a lot of facilities. So subtly, there is a chance that you did all of this because the higher, just like education. In education, for KG school, the test is write capital letter ABCD and write lowercase ABCD. But at the 4th standard, it's a little more high. At 8th standard, you are introducing algebra and certain kind of things. As you go higher up, the tests are also going to be higher. It's going to be of a higher nature. At that time, you won't be asked whether you chanted your 16 rounds. Nobody questions whether you chanted your 16 rounds. You don't have to accountably give someone a sadhana card. Then, the tendency, the independence is there. And potentially, these kind of things may come in. And at that time, if we fall prey to that, then finish. Slowly, gradually, we'll lose that enthusiasm. And then, at that stage also, potentially, a man can reach stagnation and coast along as a senior devotee with a big position, but miss out the ultimate goal of life, pure devotion to Krishna. And therefore, at every stage, if you are not maintaining utsahat, nishayat, dhairyat, tattat karma pravartanat, sangatyagat, satovritte, then we can anytime get stuck up. And therefore, a thorough knowledge of this and a always deep introspection. What's my goal? Where am I heading? Am I becoming complacent? How to overcome that? What steps, precautions have to be taken are all factors that must be considered. So this is about obstacles that may potentially creep in at any time in our life. So Utsahat, Nishchayat, Dhairyat. Tattat karma pravartanat. What is tattat karma pravartanat? There are so many principles of devotional service. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami enlists 64 items of devotion. And all these 64 items must be scrutinizingly studied. They are like medicine. They must be regularly taken. If we regularly keep on taking the medicine, then gradually health will come. And live a hygienic life. Then health will come. Spiritual health. Vibrant health. So, tattat karma pravartanat. Then, sangatyagat. We have to be very, very careful about avoiding that kind of association or attachment which is unfavorable to our progress in Krishna consciousness. Now, it's very interesting. There are two verses. In the first verse, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha, carefully avoiding materialistic association. And then in the do's, it says sangatyagat, give up the association of materialistic people. Why would Rupa Goswami, in a book which contains the only essence, no redundancy, why should he write 2 times? So it obviously means this sangatyagat is much more than simply association of materialistic people. What is that? It is said Sangha means 2 things. Sangha means association, and Sangha also means attachment. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Whatever you associate, that kind of desire you develop, whoever you associate with. So, one should carefully avoid the association of non-devotees. Who are the non-devotees? Those who are not subordinate to the Lord are non-devotees. They could be jnanis who feel that I want to become the Lord. Once I become self-realized, I become God. God cannot control me. Bhakti is simply a temporary process. It's stepping stone to impersonal merging. So that kind of people we have to give up. Or fruitive people, fruitive workers, materialistic ritualists, or materialistic people who are attached to only things of this world, or those who are purely demigod worshippers thinking that that is the ultimate goal of life. They are all ultimately one. They are attached to dry logic, or they are simply yogis, whatever, different kinds of people. Or who say that Lord is a figment of imagination, ye sab nahi hai, or whatever. There are different kinds of people. Anyway, those who are not subordinate to the Lord. These are one kind of association. And the second association is with women. Now, what does women mean? Women means Prakriti. Prakriti means I am Purusha, this is for me to be enjoyed. So for a woman, man is a woman, and for man, woman is a woman. Woman means an object to be enjoyed. Prakriti Sambhashya. So any person who wants to, in this very lifetime, cross over the ocean of birth and death, should take up this instruction seriously, that any kind of, again, unnecessary and unfavorable kind of intimate association with the opposite sex must be avoided. Of course, there are 2 kinds of renunciates, 2 kinds of Vaishnavas, householders and renunciates. For renunciates, absolutely it is to be avoided. But for householders, associating with wife or other members in the family or relatives. And that should be done very discreetly, not for unnecessary sense gratification, or not with a desire to just kind of enjoy, but just to do whatever is necessary. So these are, there's a lot, but just to know the essence. And the second kind of sangha is attachment. Now, attachments are of two kinds: attachment to assets and attachment to prejudices. Attachment to assets means getting attached to some things of this world, to a house, to a vehicle, to whatever, to a particular kind of furniture, particular kind of situation. That's attachment to a particular situation or particular kind of things, external things. Another kind of attachment is attachment to some deep-rooted prejudice or ideas which are not based on truth. They come in. Sometimes, these prejudices are also of two types. These prejudices are of two types. And what are they? Ancient and current. Current means prejudices that have been developed in this very lifetime. ये सारे गुजराती लोग ऐसे ही हैं. I remember, it's a fact, a devotee. He was driving with me one day, and his father, he was first in what is now as Pakistan, and during freedom struggle, during the independence time, when there was partition of India and Pakistan, all this, his father and his whole family, they had to move with their women and all their properties to this side, and people from here had to go on that side. And during that time, what they faced was such an experience, such a horrible nightmare, that they just can't give up looking at that community with a deep-rooted prejudice. And it seems his father told him, I'm just telling the fact, so if people of that community is here, please do not get offended. Because Vaishnavas, we are not connected with this or that. Vaishnavism goes beyond all this communal kind of thing. But this person told me, he was finding it so difficult to come out of this. He hates the Muslim community. Because he saw right in front of his eyes, his wife was tortured and raped and so many things, very difficult for such a person to give up. And he saw people being slaughtered mercilessly. Both sides, of course. That side feel like this and they feel like that. But the fact is, his father told him, beta, दो प्रकार के मुसलमान अच्छे हैं, बस, जो अभी तक पैदा नहीं हुए और जो जमीन के नीचे गाड़े गए. Can you imagine? And his father, as long as he lived in Bombay, would never even purchase goods from a shop which is owned by a Muslim fellow. He had such deep, that's not true. It can't be true. Not everyone is of the same nature, but because of that experience, he developed a deep-rooted prejudice. Some people develop about some communities, particular sex, particular creed, particular whatever. This is a current thing developed somewhere along our consciousness, and that is very difficult to give up. And that is an obstacle in Krishna consciousness. You can't properly respect truth. When you are caught up in these kind of prejudices, your respect for truth is lost. And therefore, one should be carefully, scrutinizingly find out some deep-rooted prejudices against a particular group, a particular, whatever group that may be, classification. And second kind of prejudices is ancient. Ancient means come from previous life. Some people are too ritualistic. born in ritualistic families. Some have natural deep-rooted impersonalism in their heart, jnana mishra, or kind of prejudices, or karma mishra prejudices. They're very difficult, even after coming to Krishna consciousness, when they see that proper rituals are not followed and some kind of etiquette, some kind of things are not done, it becomes an obstacle in their advancement. They start committing offenses to people who are not following all these rituals perfectly. Or some kind of impersonal thing is also there, jnana kind of thing, from previous lifetimes. Swabhava jena, that is swabhava. So, sanga tyagat, that kind of attachment, that kind of association must be given up, because they become like an obstacle. It's like you're driving a car, applying accelerator, 1 feet on the accelerator and another feet on the brake also. What will happen? You're pressing accelerator on one leg and with another leg you're pressing the brake also. It's like that if you don't give up these prejudices. Now these deep-rooted prejudices can't go till the point of death or suicide. It can't go. It's so deep-rooted it can't go. And what is the hope for all of us? The hope is association of pure devotees. A moment's association of a pure devotee can potentially remove not only the current prejudice, but the deep-rooted prejudices of lifetimes in a moment. That's the power of an association of a pure Vaishnav. One time we were in Nityanand Prabhu's place, birthplace, Ekachakra. And at that time, Sachinandan Maharaj and Radhanath Swami Maharaj were sitting. Now, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj comes from Jewish background, and His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj comes from German background. And they were speaking. And the Sachinandan Maharaj's grandfather, I think, was a soldier, the Second World War, occupying a big position. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj was telling, who knows, my grandfather probably was a fighter, and both were fighting each other. Probably they shot each other. And today both of us are sitting and glorifying each other, embracing each other. He said, this is simply because of Nityanand Prabhu's mercy. Otherwise, a German and Jew, can you imagine what Hitler did to the Jews? If you were to be there, you would hate German for lifetimes. Even, just like India, Pakistan, some similar. What they saw, slaughtering of people, butchering, wholesale, mass annihilation. But then, just by coming in association with Prabhupada, everything is forgotten. Mahaprabhu predicted, Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted, when will the day be when people from all nations, people from all walks of life, all different castes, all creed, all different sexes, everyone will come together in the holy land of Navadvip and chant Jai Sachinandana, which was fulfilled by Prabhupada in 1976, I think. From so many countries, they all came dancing together. This is the only ground on which these all other things can be removed. Narada Muni, there was this Mrigari, deep-rooted, killing animals. He is born with such a culture. He became, from Mrigari, he became a great Vaishnava. Valmiki, such a low family, so deep-rooted prejudices, but a moment's association with Narad Muni gave him such an exalted position. So we find Sangatyagat, and finally Satovrittehe. Satovritte means sadhuvritti. Satovritti means practicing in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Mahajano yena gata sapantha. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are two kinds of Mahajans. Ancient Mahajans and modern Mahajans. Who are ancient Mahajans? Swayambhu, Narada, Sambhu, Kumaro, Kapilo, Manu, Pralado, Janako, Bhishmu. They're all ancient Mahajans. And who are modern Mahajans? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, the Goswamis, and all his intimate associates. They are modern because just recently, 500 years ago, they appeared. If we deeply, scrutinizingly study their life and their instructions, and if we try to follow it in our own lives, then it's a path of all auspiciousness. So therefore, one should scrutinizingly study the lives of great devotees in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course, we are so fortunate that we have in the most immediate recent past of such a exalted Mahajan in the form of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, who was personification of all the Mahajans in front of us. And fortunately for us, every aspect of his life, his talks, his example, his conversations have been recorded, which we can see, which we can hear, which we can actually experience so closely. This is great fortune. His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, ask him any question, and immediately he says, this question was asked to Prabhupada, and how he was, for them, whatever Prabhupada did, finished, that's it. And that's how actually we see that they were able to achieve perfection. Such a from the lowest grade of degraded civilization, simply by following in the footsteps of Prabhupada, not imitating, but following in his footsteps, understanding the principle, these people achieved such an exalted position. One time, Prabhupada was giving a lecture. He was talking about the Mahajans. He was telling about, so these are the 12 Mahajans. So as he ended the talk, one disciple from the audience said, and Prabhupada, you are the 13th Mahajan. And Prabhupada was silent, and he looked at that devotee and he said, and you are the 14th. What it meant was, just follow in their footsteps and you also become a Mahajan. By following in the footsteps of Mahajans, you become a Mahajan. That's the secret. Sato vrittehe. Therefore, we have to scrutinizingly study the lives, the examples, and the instructions left behind by these great Mahajans. Deeply study. And then, understanding the principles and adjusting the details, we have to follow those instructions in this day and age. It is a very simple, very straightforward, and very auspicious path back home to the spiritual world. So in this way, these are the 6 items that are favorable. Being enthusiastic, utsahat, nishchayat, developing full faith, dhairyat, having patience, tattat karma, scrutinizingly following all the injunctions, rules and regulations, sangatyagat, carefully avoiding the association and attachment of unnecessary, unwanted, unfavorable things, people, and satovrittehe, following in the footsteps of those great souls who achieved the perfection of life, successfully achieved the perfection of life by following the process. And they have left behind a trail. If you simply follow that trail, it is an assured, guaranteed way for success. So by studying the lives, examples and teachings of these exalted Vaishnavas, we can also go back. So we end here. If there are any questions, comments, clarifications, yes, Prabhu. Okay, 1 minute, you will pass the mic, you can ask the question. There.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in our student life, when we were in the base, that time we used to have a very active part in like all the activities. But now just we have joined the job, so after coming from office to base, somehow body also doesn't cooperate, and already so much like outside people, dealing with outside people. So we feel that now we are not able to do what we used to do previously. So again, like initially enthusiasm is not there because of whole day's hectic schedule. Plus when that thought comes, now we are not actively in, participating in base services or another event. So again it depresses like and how to deal with this situation where we practically find no time.
One time, one devotee, he reads lot of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He has finished 3 times. Bhagavatam he has finished 4 times. All this he does in the train only, Bombay local train, because he hardly gets any time. So he approached one sannyasi and told him, I was there because I was translating, so I know. He said, Maharaj, I am simply, I want to give up all this nonsense, all work, and simply sit in one place and read Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavatam, all the books of Prabhupada. And the reply to him was, very good, wonderful. He was so enlivened. Sanction? He said, now with this consciousness, you continue your work. With this, aspire. Your aspiration should be, my God, so much of activity just to maintain this body, just to maintain this setup. When will that day be when I'll be able to run? When will I get a consciousness to run to the temple, associate with devotees, drink the nectar? If this is your consciousness, you are safe. Wherever you are safe. But if that consciousness is getting affected, then actually you should drop everything and run. Because that is dangerous position. So, our society, thankfully, is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So it's all a question of consciousness. If our consciousness is pure, aspiring for the ideal thing, while do the necessary, do whatever is necessary to sustain, maintain and go on with certain responsibilities. And actually, even to do those responsibilities in a Krishna conscious way, in a mood of serving, in a mood of offering this gift to Krishna. I'll do my best. Studies, I'll do so nicely and do my best and leave the rest to Krishna. For the result, I leave it to Krishna. But I do my best as an offering. One time, one devotee asked, he said that, Maharaj, you are saying that you be the best businessman for Krishna, be the best student for Krishna, be the best whatever for Krishna. But then all the businessmen work 18 hours a day. If I work like them, I can't come to temple, I can't chant, I can't do this. So, you say be best also, be best devotee also, best businessman also, best student also, best everything. How can I be? So the reply was, Arjuna and Karna, both were, or rather actually Karna was better archer than Arjuna. But in the eyes of Krishna, Arjuna was the best archer. So he said, become the best in the eyes of Krishna, not in the eyes of the material world. In the material world, who is the best businessman? Who earned the most profit? Thus, to hell with his future life, what he's currently doing, what is his consciousness, what is his state of happiness, nothing is considered, only superficially considered. What is his list on the top 10? That is the best businessman. But we should strive to become the best of whatever we are in Krishna's eyes. So we do the business for Krishna in the sense, after nicely having performed our sadhana, rest of the energy, qualitatively, we put our best into that. And I can say for one thing at least, for sure, it is not actually the quantity of work, it is the quality of work which counts. And if your consciousness is prepared through proper practices, spiritual practices, then in 2 hours what you can do, somebody else cannot do it even in 4 hours. It is a fact. For example, during examinations, just a week left before exam, when you sit and study, have you noticed how you grasp things? You gobble up pages after pages. Khatam. And every student thinks, if I study like this throughout the year, 100% next time, flying colors. And the moment the exam is finished, you can't have that same attentiveness, same grasping power. You know why? Can someone say why this happens at that time? Yes, Prabhu. So fire is there, fear is there. Light the fire. Fear, the point is, there is so less time and I need to do so much. And therefore, all distractions go away. You become more focused. Very little time, I have to do so much. Every other thing, distractions go away and you become very focused. That same thing is, the fire and fear is lost immediately after exam, because so much time is there, only so much is to be done. But for a devotee, it is 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, like that. Because he knows, I have so much to do for Krishna, for family, for occupation, for this, for my relatives, friends, whatever. And therefore, every moment is important. This much is the only time I dedicate. And when I give full. Finish. Then I go here, I give my full. And therefore, he functions at his best at every moment. Because he is giving out his best. Because the fire is there. The fire is there because he knows, I'm doing it for Krishna. It should be the best offering. Why offer a dry, rotten flower? I will offer the best flower. What do you offer? The result of your examination. I am putting this effort not to gain name and fame and prestige or a seat or something. I am putting my best for the pleasure and satisfaction of Krishna and Vaishnavas. Then whatever happens, I accept it as Krishna's mercy. So therefore, such a person becomes efficient. Yes, when you have time, actually that desperate feeling that you get when you're outside and feeling, I wish I was there, I wish I could be doing. The proof of that is when you actually get time, what do? When you actually get time, at that time you say, not today, tomorrow I'll go. That means it's not genuine. But if genuinely you're feeling like that, when will that time be when I'll drop all this and go there? That is, you're healthy. You're in healthy consciousness. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Radheshyam Prabhu, you would like to add something? You have more experience. Yeah. 1 minute, use the mic.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you said chanting in Brahma Muhurta is the best. But sometimes, like when we need to go for company very early and all, so completing all 16 rounds, it's not possible, and chanting in night is also not good. So is it preferred to chant before Mangalarti some rounds?
The whole idea is this is our lifeline activity. You understand what is lifeline activity? It's the most important activity in our, because that retains the consciousness for the activity or the quality of consciousness throughout the day. Therefore, when you do that, you should be very alert, number one. Number two, it should be the environment, the condition within and without should be as favorable as possible. So intelligently think what is best for you. You should be alert, and the conditions should be as favorable as possible. As many favorable things can come, so much better. If absolutely not possible, some time of the day, but do it.
Like what I have felt is before Mangalarti, how much ever round I do, it will be the best. Like I can hear it very clearly and it goes very good. So
that's good. That time is the best. But you have to decide according to your schedule. I know people who just because of that situation get up so late and sleep throughout the whole day. In the sense, are not at all alert throughout the day. What is the use of that? What is the use of that? And what to speak of that? Even during the chanting they are sleeping. At least I have seen experience like that. Therefore, plan out your life in such a way. Unnecessary activity, drop it. If you want to go to bed early, every moment think, is it really necessary? If not, I go to bed. No, time pass. Or gradually mold your life in such a way that you are able to take sufficient rest to be alert for this activity. Just like I gave that plain example, that's why. The point is you have to be alert with a relish, and the environment should be as favorable as possible. So if you are not alert, what is the use of that time? Even though favorable time is there, but if you are not alert, what is the point? But you have to judge it. You have to balance these things. So many things are ideal. But then, unfortunately, Kali Yuga, our work, occupation is not ideal. What a timing. What a timing. Completely, One week, these call centers, a demoniac lifestyle. The body will go crazy. The body doesn't understand this language. Khana aa gaya abhi. The body says, I'm supposed to take rest now, and now I have to digest the food. Now I'm feeling sleepy. Now get up. But last week was different. This schedule is different now. This is 8 to 12 or 8 to 2. Then next week 2 to 10. Then 10 to... Body will go crazy. Of course, as long as you are fit, it may adjust for some time, but it will break up. What to do? That's the only job available for somebody. He can't do anything. I mean, there are so many things you have to consider. You do your best and leave the rest to Krishna. That is his headache. What can you do? With proper guidance, with proper intelligence, you decide, try to do it. Krishna is a person, thankfully. A very considerate person. He understands the spirit behind the endeavor. That is saving grace. He sees, we'll discuss this in the evening. Krishna sees the spirit, the heart. It says, man sees the lips, God sees the heart. Man sees the result, God sees the endeavor. Have you, with your best intelligence, with best guidance, taken the proper decision? And after deciding that, are you endeavoring to the best of your ability? If you're doing it, forget it. Generally, sometimes people land up in so much misery and self-created anxiety simply by comparing themselves with someone else's situation. You don't have to compare yourself. You are what you are, somebody else is what they are. Somebody can do without food. Somebody has to eat so much food. Somebody can do with so much rest. You may not be able to do so much with rest. Body is differently made. You can't compare. You can compare with your own self. You have to go on, don't remain at the same level. Try to go on improving. Bas. Take inspiration from those who are doing something very nicely. But you don't try to imitate them. You be yourself. Apply those principles and intelligently apply it in your life with guidance. That's why endeavor executed with intelligence. You have to use your intelligence. And in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means motive is pure and under proper guidance. After that, forget it. Just leave it to Krishna. It's Krishna's responsibility. I've taken guidance. I use my intelligence. This is the best thing I can do under the circumstances till whatever situation becomes further better. Krishna, please accept this. Krishna, to him, that's more important than what time it was done. How would you do? Whatever, like that. So Krishna sees the spirit behind that activity, the consciousness, the mood. So, do the needful. Understand the basic principles. Apply the details according to time, place, and circumstance. Does that make it clear? Yeah. Somebody, yeah. I will come to you.
About association, we are stressing so much. But while a devotee, like in case of Mrigari and Narad, simultaneously when Mrigari was getting good association of Narad, Narad was getting bad association of Mrigari. So how we can justify that we can always remain in good association?
Thank you very much for a very important point that your question can bring out. And that is, what is association? And how to associate. That's what we are going to discuss in the next session. However, I'll give you the principle. What's really association? Association does not mean sitting in the same bus, buying foodstuffs from the same grocery shop, or sitting in the same classroom together. That's not association. Association means where there is a heart-to-heart exchange. That you should not do with these kind of people. So you can give your association. You may not take their. Narada was giving his association. He was not taking Mrigari's association. That means Narada was revealing his heart but he was not hearing attentively to the convictions or the understandings, opinions of Mrigari. So you can give your association, but you need not take their association. And association actually means the loving exchanges, heart to heart, not dutiful exchange also. Dutiful exchange means it's a duty. You have to sit in front of your boss for such a long time or whatever. And next colleague of yours happens to be a lady. What to do? You have to sit in there. They share the same computer or whatever, you know. As a student, you have to be in the lab and your partner happens to be opposite sex. What do you do? Sometimes it happens. So what to do? That doesn't mean heart to heart. What do you think about the goal of life? Really? My heart has a feeling that this is it. What do you feel? Not necessarily. Hi. Bye. Bas. You may sit for hours together and not have a single association. In a moment you can get a lot of association. When you keep your everything open, heart, ears, eyes fully open, absorb, or sometimes you are there but everything closed. So everything bounces back. So it depends whether you want to take it or you want to give it, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, how much you want to do it. We'll discuss that next. So what you have asked is a logical sequence for the next class. Naturally that thing arises in our heart. Discuss that in the afternoon. Yeah. There was one hand here. There, yeah, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You spoke about a situation wherein like you described a devotee who's you described as just keep on sailing, just in the initial push was there and he just keeps on sailing. So for a devotee of that in that circumstances, say he's with the given fact that he doesn't have many opportunities to interact with devotees or to when he loses that, he obviously loses track of Krishna consciousness altogether. But then he makes an honest effort to just keep going. But of course, he's not making much progress. So in that situation, what would be ideal for him to do, bro?
We have to intensify the quality of devotional service at least. For in some reason you can't improve the quantity anymore, try to improve the quality. And you can simultaneously also try to improve the quantity. Just look at the life of a materialistic person. Every situation he sees, how I can extract something from here also. What is called as multitasking, you know. While doing that, I want to enjoy a little music also. They want to do that. They use their intelligence, how I can do what I like, simultaneously what I have to do. So if you are really desperate, Krishna gives intelligence. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtu. He is situated in everyone's heart. If you are desperate, Krishna gives you the intelligence. It comes as inspiration. When Archimedes was so desperate to know, Krishna gave him the knowledge of buoyancy. And where did he give? While taking bath, in the bathtub. Because that fellow who discovered the benzene ring, what is that, Kekulé or whatever, he was so desperate. Through a dream or a vision, he saw a snake biting its own tail. Ring form. Yes, hexagonal, benzene ring. So, when your desire is deeply to know how I can come closer in this situation, in the current situation, Krishna will give intelligence. He can speak through your heart, in dream, or through someone else. Prabhupada was desperate about preaching. One man, ordinary man to whom he was distributing this pamphlet said, "Why do you sell pamphlets like this? Put all these pamphlets together, make it a book and sell." Prabhupada said, "My Guru Maharaj is speaking through you." And he followed that. So, it's a question of intensifying our desire. If you have a desire, where there is a will, there is a way. You will for it, you strongly desire for it, you dream about it, think about it, speak about it. I want to do it, I want to do it, and it will happen. That is a fact. That is a fact. There is no barrier for devotional service. Ahaituki apratihata. No material situation is a barrier for increasing our devotional service. It's a question of using your best in terms of intelligence, in terms of whatever. Develop a desire. Don't give up. Giving up means losing to Maya. Actually, Krishna sees the endeavor. That endeavor itself is successful. Even though you practically could not achieve much, but that endeavor is successful. Just like Jatayu. Jatayu fought with Ravana. He knew, I am fighting a losing battle. Ravana is he is youthful, he is very powerful. I am an old man. He could have justified, said, "Abhi ladke bhi kya fayda, kuch hone wala to nahi hai na, marne hi wala hu." But he said, "Anyway I am going to die, but let me try. I'll try my best." And he was successful. Even though externally he failed, but it was successful in the eyes of Lord Ram, because on that very same day, Lord Ram personally performed his last funeral rites, sent him back to the spiritual world that very day. So, from a materialistic point of view, he was unsuccessful, but spiritually he was successful, because Krishna saw that endeavor. So don't worry, whatever situation you are, you do your best. Try and aspire to increase the quantity, quality at least, and if possible the quantity also. Krishna will give you intelligence how to do it. That's a fact. It will happen. And if with all of that, whatever you have done, then no problem. In 1 second, Krishna can make you a pure devotee. What's difficult for him? In 1 second, he can remove all anarthas, go away. From inside, he'll just blow, Finished. You see, our endeavor, we have to put out our, up to him, how he does it, when he does it. Dhairya, have patience. But whatever situation he puts us, just what we need to purify ourselves. Have faith and just go on. Does that make sense? Yeah, one hand somewhere here was raised. Yes.
Prabhuji,
Tell me, Radheshyam Prabhu, when you have to stop. 5-10 minutes, okay.
Prabhuji, you're telling about that chanting in the morning, it's like no traffic is there. But sometimes what happens in the day, if there is some like exam or some very important thing is going to happen, so our mind is hooked to that and it disturbs very much into the chanting. So what can we do at that time so as to focus on chanting?
Yeah, very natural. That's very natural, because you're not like a machine. Switch off. Ye chalu karo abhi. Grrr. Only chanting now. Okay, switch off. Abhi service chalu. It's not a machine, Okay, tube light off, fan on, fan off, tube light off. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. You say mind. So it's natural that spillover will be there from one to the other. And to the extent there is pressure on one side, spillover will be more. Right? It's natural. However, it shouldn't become a regular feature. As long as it is exam, okay, 6 days of examination, okay. But for the rest of the year, if you're thinking about the exam and becoming too much anxiety, and it keeps on spilling over into your japa time only, not throughout the other day. Other day you sleep. No anxiety. Only japa, Hare Krishna, japa, what about my exam? That means Maya is hooking on to something to become miserable. We need something to become miserable, some excuse to lament. So, if it's a very important thing, it may. As long as it is also a service, that's not so bad. If it is sense gratification that you're thinking about, that's not good. But if it is some service, just like on Janmashtami, so many services, invariably, however you chant, some ideas will, hey, why don't you put that bamboo like this? I think we adjust that, because it's urgent, it's coming up, and there's no time. And somehow you have to finish your rounds also. So, these two becomes very difficult. So, it will spill over. When the pressure is too much, it will spill over, no problem. As long as it is an occasional feature. If it's not, then you better consult someone. Only that time, all the problems come only during japa. Keep spilling over into our japa time. And that is not a very healthy sign. But sometimes exams, naturally it's a very important thing. Because it also helps it also eventually affect our devotional service. So therefore, thinking about that, and as long as immediately after that you should come back to normal. It's like a main road is damaged, so you take a bypass. But you take a bypass not to remain in the bypass always. Then you will bypass your goal. Take a bypass, and as soon as you see that, okay, main road is alright, come back to the main road. So for 1 week you took a detour, japa was not so very good, but immediately after that back to square one, and back to normal. Otherwise, something is wrong. And if it is service oriented, then it's all right. It's not so bad, though that's not the ideal. It's not so bad. But if it is some other unimportant thing, unnecessary thing, unfavorable thing, that's not healthy. There are two questions. From whom should see that Krishna or Guru is speaking? From materialist or only through devotees? Krishna can speak through anyone. To one devotee, he spoke through a prostitute, Chintamani. She spoke. What is this nonsense? Bilvamangal Thakur. To Bilvamangal Thakur, Krishna spoke through a prostitute. To Prabhupada, he spoke through. But it's not that you go looking for a prostitute. My dear Mataji, please speak, because Krishna will speak through you. That's not the regular process through which Krishna speaks. Krishna generally has a pakka spokesman, clear, delineated spokesman. Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And Vaishnavas, who repeat the word of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But a devotee is always alert, keeps his eyes and ears open to see, because every element of creation can potentially speak to us about something or the other. We can learn a don't or a do from something. Everything we can learn. What not to do, what to do. Just like the 24 gurus about that in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a man describing 24 gurus. He says, from a prostitute I learned something. From the ocean I learned how to become grave. From the earth I learned how to be tolerant. So many people are exploiting the earth, but she is tolerant. From the sky I learned this. From the tree I learned this. Tranadapi taroriva sahishnuna. Never complaining. If you are desperate, if you are open, if you are always eager to hear Krishna's message, Krishna can speak through any and every, even every atomic particle. Every situation will teach a lesson. So Krishna can speak through anyone. But generally, that's at a high stage. If you don't understand Krishna's language, then you may misunderstand some other language as Krishna spoke to me. Yesterday night, one fellow told me, I think you should drink and get intoxicated, then chant Hare Krishna. Krishna spoke through his heart. How do you know whether Krishna spoke or your false ego, Maya, used some of your relatives or some of your friends or neighbors as her agent? Was he Krishna's agent or was he Maya's agent? How will you know? Through Guru Sadhu Shastra. And of course, phalena parichiyate. Ultimately, the proof is by the result. Prabhupada followed that man and he distributed hundreds, thousands of books. Bilumangal Thakur followed that prostitute and left everything and went to Vrindavan and achieved Krishna. That is the proof. But we can't wait till the proof and then say that was Krishna or Maya. So better we take a safer route, Guru Sadhu and Shastra. But many a times we keep alert and judge some people's opinion, weigh it according to Guru Sadhu Shastra and may respond. What made and is making to strictly following and continuing in Krishna consciousness so enthusiastically? What made and is making you to strictly following and continuing his Krishna consciousness so enthusiastically? Thank you for your compliment that you see some enthusiasm even in this dull-witted fellow. And mainly prayers of Vaishnavas like you probably will continue to make me remain and continue enthusiastically. It is simply association of devotees, sincere devotees, that made us enthusiastic and that will continue to keep us enthusiastic. If that is not there, it is infectious. Enthusiasm. Prabhupada would give the example of Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin, when Shyam Sundar Prabhu and Malti Mataji, they were going to America. So they were asking Prabhupada, and I think around that time or something around to that effect, Prabhupada said, simply be enthusiastic. Wildly. You are something, what you are doing is something different from the society. Do it enthusiastically. Whatever anyone does enthusiastically, people follow. Hey, कुछ तो मजा होना चाहिए, लोग ऐसा नाच रहे हैं, हम भी नाच के देखते हैं. Prabhupada gave the example of Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin he went to the ballroom and he was dancing, and then he got a little tired and sat down. And sat down. When he got up, his tail coat, that got stuck somewhere and it just got torn. And it became, two tails. And so he went around and, they have that skating kind of a thing. They skate along and hold their girl and move around like this. So suddenly he just went and saw himself in the mirror that it's torn. So what he did was he caught hold of the two and tore it further, till the neck. He tore it like this. And then came and so enthusiastic, starting whirling about, zoom, zoom like that. He said, wow, what is this guy doing? It is something amazing. What makes him so enthusiastic? He's like us only. Oh, only the tailcoat is different. Maybe that's what we have to do to become enthusiastic. Everyone started tearing. And ultimately everyone was, even a fellow who had a good tailcoat also torn it. So similarly they see, wow, these shaven-headed guys with tilak and gantimala, dancing, joyful, blissful. What makes them? They're actually same. 2 eyes, one nose, everything. Hey, no, hairstyle is different. Dress is different. Things are different. Maybe by doing that, whatever you do, I will also do. Maybe I will also become enthusiastic. And Prabhupada writes in one particular situation, imitation of a good thing is appreciated. So, associate with such kind of enthusiastic devotees. That is the secret to become enthusiastic and to remain enthusiastic. When death creeps in, determination to serve decreases. What is the solution? Should we engage in service without thinking about the development? Doubt. Without thinking about the doubt, or get them clarified, making it a serious issue. Actually, devotional service cannot be stopped even at the time of death. The proof is we saw Bhakti Tirth Maharaj leaving his body recently. That is a glorious example of victory over death. Even death could not stop him from his devotional service. If you hear, 15 days before he left his body, he was simply bones and skin. But if you hear his cassette, what he spoke, you don't even realize that he was about to die, a person about to die, shriveled up, only bones and skin, as good as any other time in the pink of his health when he was giving the lecture. So devotional service is beyond the body. Of course, when the situation is not, again, same thing. Whatever energy is there, that energy should be used in Krishna's service. I was thinking, a few months back, I saw Prabhupada's last days. How many of you have seen that last lesson, the final lesson? Quite a few. I was told not to see it. Because for a person who has seen Prabhupada in his heydays, preaching like a world acharya, it's very painful to the heart to see his last days. How he was absolutely shriveled up, absolutely no strength. And especially when he leaves his body, the way they did the samadhi and all that. Very painful to the heart. But as the nature of human being, when somebody says, don't see something, your enthusiasm, your curiosity, नहीं एक बार देख लेते क्या है क्या नहीं देखना चाहिए हमको. So somehow I got hold of one cassette and I said, only once I will see what not to be seen. And I put it and I saw, and one thing bewildered me little. I should frankly say, it bewildered me and I was a little offensive also. I saw Prabhupada 2 days before he left his body. I think 2 or 3 days. He was lying in his bed. Absolutely no strength. Nothing. It's just bag of bones and skin. That's all. No muscle. Completely the cheek is gone in. The bones are protruding. The eyes are completely sunk. Very difficult to see someone in that situation, whom I've already seen in different situations. And he was, but even at that stage, mic was kept so close to him, and they would read the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam, 13th chapter, 10th canto, and he was translating perfect consciousness. perfect consciousness, giving a purport. Completely healthy in terms of consciousness, irrespective of the bodily condition. But I was thinking, why? Why do this? ये नाटक कर रहा है क्या? I should say, I was really offended. Why should he do it? After all, even if he lives for a few days, he will translate about 30-40 verses. What's going to make a difference? Already he has translated the whole 10th canto. Why struggle to translate even at this time? But then later I heard another devotee telling another story about another person. And that gave me this realization that this is the nature of a liberated soul. What is liberated? Who is liberated? Who is liberated from the bodily concept? And yesterday, as we were discussing, he was fixed that I am not the gross body, I am not the subtle body, I am the spirit soul. Okay? And what is the nature of the spirit soul? Jivero Swarup hoy Krishna Nitya Das. And if you are the Das, then you have to serve your master. Under whatever circumstances. If you have only so much energy, use that energy for serving Krishna. If you have so much energy, use that energy for serving Krishna. So when he had full energy, he was going full blast. He had only so much energy, he was using that in Krishna's service. Because what is the use of life without service to Krishna? It is spiritual death. So for a devotee, life means preaching. Death means no preaching. Such a person is spiritually dead. And therefore, whatever energy he had, he was using it. I am a servant, I have to serve. Today so much energy is there, I'll serve with so much energy. Tomorrow nothing is there, theek hai. With that itself I'll try to think about Krishna. If I have no energy to speak, I'll not speak, I'll think about Krishna. If that thinking also stops, Hare Krishna. That is a self-realized soul. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nikhila shvapi avastasu jivan mukta sauchyate. In this life, one who engages body, mind and words in the service of Krishna under all circumstances, such a person is jivan mukta. Even though within the body, he is actually transcended the bodily concept of life. That is a proof. So coming back to your question, death is not at all fearful. When death creeps in, determination to serve decreases. Determination to serve decreases because of fear. But for a person who realizes I am not the gross and subtle body, that fear also goes away. Of course, artificially we can't imitate at this stage. But right now we begin the process wherever we are. What is the solution? Solution is become more Krishna conscious. Should we engage in service without thinking about the doubt? Yes, because to remove the doubt, service is the proof. When we engage in service and we see the result, when there is a doubt, think about the initial days which gave you enthusiasm, or any other time when you experienced immense spiritual charge because of engaging in proper devotional service. It's a fact. During very, very intense service, some situations comes when you are absolutely engaged in it, you have no time for anything, and you get exhausted. But later, looking back at that time, you feel so nice. I was so engaged at that time, Like what you were saying. At that time when you were in base, you were doing so much, but now looking back, you feel, at those times were so nice. But you didn't feel it when you were probably there. Ye bhi karna hai, wo bhi karna, baap re, kitna karna hai. But when you look back, you say, my God, those were the very pleasant days. So remembering that, probably again, introspect. What made you happy? What was the situation which made you enthusiastic? So, and engage in that. And what made you lethargic? And at that time it was very nice when you were sleeping, but afterwards you feel miserable. So think about those things. Think about the positive and then go ahead. So, thinking about the doubt, or get them clarified, making it a serious issue. It is a very serious issue. As I said, we have to take Maya seriously, we have to take Krishna seriously. Maya is a serious thing. And Krishna is also, Krishna consciousness is a very serious thing. We have to take it seriously. One last. Since we come from a very competitive background and we got material success till now, we expect results in Krishna consciousness also very quickly. This leads to frustration. Many times. How can we rectify this? True, in the material world, you work for 5 years and then you get a certificate that you passed successfully, or you do an activity, you get the result quickly. Tangible results are seen. But in spiritual life, how to not lose faith and determination or enthusiasm? By purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaihi purvataram kritam. Look at the previous successes. Therefore, on our altar, we keep a series of them. All these are our Mahajans. They achieved success. Just like anyone in the material world, he wants to become someone, he puts that fellow's picture and practices in front of him. I want to be like him, I want to be like him, I want to look like him, I want to do things like him, I want to struggle like him. They put their Mahajans, whoever their Mahajan is, in their field. So we put our Mahajan in their field and we follow in their footsteps. Therefore, associating with, see, again, we will come to the next topic. The very advanced, not very advanced, but senior in the movement at least, simply just so many years, they need to associate with the new people and the new people associate with the senior people. Why? Because actually both benefit each other. In early ages of Krishna, in early stages of Krishna consciousness, there is so much enthusiasm and there is less of patience. Restlessness is there. कर डालो पूरा दुनिया को कृष्ण भावना, कर डालो बोलता हूं, लाखों पुस्तक वितरण कर दो, हरिनाम कर दो, change the world, I tell you. Why this fellow is not taking? ये सुन 16 माला करने का कल से समझा? Prabhuji, this fellow is not chanting, so many times. Hey, 16 rounds from tomorrow morning, okay? Night, 2 o'clock, I preached to him for 8 hours continuously, Prabhuji. And now he wants to avoid me and go away. So, there is so much enthusiasm because faith is there, but there is no patience. But as you grow old and old and old, at least physically in Krishna consciousness, there is so much patience. No problem, sometimes else I will do Krishna consciousness. And somebody is enthusiastic. देखेंगे 4 दिन का ऐसा खुजलाना कितना दिन चलेगा? बच्चू 4 दिन रहेगा, समझ जाएगा, मेरे जैसा हो जाएगा, आराम से बैठेगा, बस 16 माला हो गया, सो जा. So those kind of seniors should associate with enthusiasm is infectious. So associating with these young people, you feel enthusiastic. And after that person sees, this fellow is still going on, that means I should also be steadily going on. So that restlessness goes away by associating with mature people who balance patience with enthusiasm. So both are important. Faith is there in both. But simply patience without enthusiasm, you potentially can easily fall prey to Maya and become lazy as years pass. But simply enthusiasm without patience makes you restless and, as you have rightly pointed out, frustrated and eventually give up the faith. अरे काम नहीं करता, कितना साल से कर रहा हूँ मैं, अरे 3 दिन किया पर 30 साल से किया वाला भगत बेचारा चल रहा है अभी भी. Like a tortoise is going full speed. But like a hare you ran and then you rested. बस हो गया ना, 3 साल जपा किया हूँ 16 माला, अभी सोऊंगा थोड़ा. 3 years I will take rest, then start next lap. It doesn't go like that. It's a steady process, continuing process, ongoing process. I said last question. One more? Oh, Bapre. So only these 3, huh? Okay. In a vikalpa situation, one may not be in association and he may take some fatal decision. What is the best thing to do in the situation? This basis impressions, even if we continue, even if I'm not able to understand one particular word. What is the best thing to do in this situation? Acha, this, what is that? Acha. Oh yeah, leaves impression even if we continue. We may take some fatal decision. What is the best thing to do in such situation? Leave this impression. Yeah. Actually, as we were discussing, the only way to overcome anartha is enthusiasm, not misdirected enthusiasm and not laziness. There are 2 dangers. Of these, laziness is actually more dangerous. Misdirected enthusiasm, it can be brought after some time. You learn, you get a hit and trial and error method, come back in the right track. But if you don't endeavor at all, you will never learn the lesson. Of course, therefore we need guidance so that we don't make a costly lesson, too fatal a decision. Therefore, you have to have that discrimination, as we were discussing yesterday. Give me the strength to change the things I can. Give me the strength to tolerate the things I can't. Give me the intelligence to discriminate between the two. And if you don't have that intelligence, approach a person who has. And decide what you can change, try to change to the best of your ability. And what you can't change, don't try to unnecessarily change it because you will get frustrated. You can't change it. You can't say, from today onwards, I should change the law of gravity. No. The law of gravity, everything from tomorrow. I will discover something by which you throw something, everything keep on going up. Sorry, Prabhu. It is beyond your control. So some things you can't change. Kali Yuga you can't change. People's consciousness you can change. Yuga you can't change. No, kal se Satyuga bana dunga main. I will discover something. Suddenly Satyuga comes. I will spray something and in that area Satyuga comes. It can't happen. Kali Yuga is there. What you can change is people's consciousness, that they don't remain in Kali Yuga situation. At least internally they are transcended, the 3 modes. So what you can change, you should do. And not get caught up. And take guidance. That's why we need. Otherwise, what is fatal? Fatal means, because of foolishness, we take a decision which we think is not very important, but is actually very crucial. A principle is misunderstood to be a detail and neglected. Or a detail is taken as a principle and you get stuck. So therefore, we need, if you have to continue, you need that guidance. That's important. Otherwise, we may either become misdirected or we may lose our enthusiasm after some time. as rightly said, mentioned here. So this is the last question. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. You said that doubt pounds on us when Krishna Surya has gone dim. So how to know our doubts in advance and how to work on them? How to know doubts in advance, meaning how to know what are the doubts that may come? Yes, it's amazing. Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha and his Tattva Sandarbha, so many others, in Shat Sandarbha, has given all possible doubts that may arise in a living entity's mind and solved it. Sometimes you see in Prabhupada's books. So someone may say, nay, I don't say, but someone may say tomorrow, then Krishna was born with you. So Arjuna asked in advance only. So someone may say like this, someone may say, Prabhupada writes, someone may say. Someone may say means any one of us may ask at particular bewildered situation like that question. Some question like that. Just like Krishna knows all the possible different desires of a living entity. And knowing that, he has created 84 lakh species. उसके बाहर कुछ सोच ही नहीं सकता आदमी. There cannot be any other desires other than 84 lakh. And all 84 lakh species is provided. You whatever you think, you get inside. Similarly, the great acharyas know all the bewildered living entity, what all question they may ask. Even the most bewildered state. Sometimes it sees nonsense. Nobody will ask such a question. Foolish. Simple question. People will ask. And therefore the acharyas, in their elaborate purports, have covered scrutinizingly all possible doubts that you may never get, or you had, or you are having right now, or you may have in future, or you may not have. You are not so intelligent to have that kind of a doubt, but that is also answered. In case some intelligent fellow asks you, you can answer at least. It's amazing. All possible, like so many routes of escaping into Maya. Drop, stop. Ultimately only one path. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. The acharyas are so intelligent, all possible deviations and doubts have been answered. All the doors are stopped. Only one door is open. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. So therefore, if you want to overcome them in advance, read Srila Prabhupada's books in advance. Even before the doubt comes, books are the basis. Develop such a strong basis. What is a basis? Basis means the foundation. Just like a building is as strong as the foundation is deep. And generally nobody sees the foundation. Right? Baapre, itna bada building. But nobody digs inside. Kitna andar gaya dekhe. Nobody knows. The test is when big storm comes, which building stands and which building falls. Similarly, scrutinizing study of scriptures seems a little painful activity. Every day reading, digging, spending so much time, money, energy to dig inside and make a foundation. But if our bhakti in the heart is built on a deep-rooted foundation of philosophical basis, then when storms come in our life, there are different kinds of storms. Some storms come sensual storm. In the case of Ajamil, he had a sensual storm on a base of gross senses. He saw something, it agitated him, it created a storm in his life. Sometimes a mental storm will come. I don't like it, I like it, I dislike it, I hate it. Who cares whether you like it or not? Krishna likes it, you better like it. Krishna hates it, you hate that also. Then sometimes intellectual storms, so many philosophies. What is the need of a guru? Why should we surrender? Why become yes man to someone? Stand on your own feet. Tumi aho tumcha jivanacha shilpakar. You are the sculptor of your own destiny. So many philosophies, intellectual bombardment, and at that time the building may collapse. And the worst of all is storm on the egoistic platform. Somebody hurts you, somebody insults you, or you're not recognized, you're not appreciated, you don't see any encouragement, the ego is hurt. Or worse than that, if you don't appreciate, no, that's okay. But blaspheming, just because you're a devotee, so many blasphemies may come. The only thing you have to do is stop chanting Hare Krishna, everything will become smooth. All this will come, but to the extent the philosophy or the books are the basis, they are so deep, we are fixed in ultimate goal of life. Then, Shita, Ushna, Sukha Dukkheshu, Tatha Manapamanayoho. One who remains equipoised under heat or cold on the sensual platform, happiness or distress on the mental platform, and honor or dishonor on the intellectual egoistic platform. In any situation, you simply go on steadily with your devotional service to Krishna, knowing I am not all of these things. These are all material designations. These may come and go, but I should simply go on serving in my constitutional position as a servant of Krishna. So, that is required if you want to maintain. That is why Srila Prabhupada wrote so many books, because he knew I am going away, I am an old man. But these books will remain. These books will be the lighthouse. This will be like the guide, star, pole star, that give us direction where to move towards. So he spent so much of energy, so much of time, effort, simply to write these books. Because he said, I will go away, but this message will go on. These are the law books for the next 10,000 years, he said. So, we have to take shelter of these books. Then we can steadily go on. And once the faith develops, enthusiasm will be there, patience will also be there. Never losing hope. Thank you very much for your patient listening and retaining your enthusiasm till the end. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaur Premanandi.